Good evening, everyone. With the time being 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, May 28th, 2024, I will call this meeting of the school committee to order and ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, and will be posted on the district website. First, I'd like to say welcome to everybody that's here this evening. It is an honor to have each of you share your Tuesday evening with us. We're here the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, so open meeting, so please feel free to come back anytime. The first item on our agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes from the May 14th, 2024 meeting. Is there any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. It's so wonderful to see everybody here tonight. I will have a brief report for you tonight. As you can see, we're going to have a full house and a full meeting ahead of us. I'd like to start out with a personnel update. I have a couple new hires that I'm excited to announce. We have Miss Alicia Bose. She is a Park Ave Elementary nurse, assistant nurse. So welcome aboard, Alicia. We also have a new admin assistant to the superintendent and central register. That is Erica Alvarez. Erica will be starting next week, and the float nurse will be starting Monday as well. So welcome aboard to both of them. We also had a recent resignation of an ELL teacher at Webster Middle School, Miss Paula Malone. So we will be looking to replace that position for next year. Moving on to instructional leadership. On May 22nd and 23rd, the district instructional leadership team, otherwise known as the DILT team, met for our Instructional Prioritization Institute to develop and refine a new instructional priority for next year. The meeting was facilitated by our SOS partners, the statewide system of support partners. We need to annually submit an instructional priority to the state. This priority is a focus area that we believe will show us the maximum improvement in gains. This work is going to be continued and refined through the end of this year and will guide our professional focus and learning for next year. So we are continuing that work, we're digging in, and we're excited to see where it takes us. Moving on to other updates. On Friday, May 24th, I attended the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative Meeting, otherwise known as SWEC. In your packets is the Q3 report, and that's just for your information. I know Miss Peterson is here, and she's probably going to report on this, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the Webster Middle School for their play, Law and Order, Rhyme and Punishment. It was excellent, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Great work to the Webster Middle School, and thank you to the staff for providing that. And then lastly, under my report, Ms. Contos and I have been consumed with all things building. We are moving through the building project. Ms. Contos will be reporting out on that shortly, but as you can see by some of the renderings in the room, we have been actively making decisions, and it is quite active at this point. So that concludes my report, unless you have any other questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the committee? No? Okay. Well, once again, thank you. And the next item is our business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Contos.
Good evening, and good evening to this full house. It's great to see everyone here tonight. So I'm going to start with the Bartlett School Building Project to give an update. I've been giving some real details around the boots on the ground type of activities that are going on in the building, but I'm going to be a little light in that area tonight and shift a bit. So construction activities continue, really ranging from things like saw cutting, excavation is continuing, footings, forming foundation walls. Those activities are all happening in Building C. Two of the main focus areas that I will bring to your attention is work that we're doing around the infrastructure to support the building. The first is supplying power to the building. So with the renovation, we are actually moving the electrical panel to Section C. It currently resides in Section A, so we will be establishing another pole for power, and we're working with National Grid with respect to how long we can be running power, or two sources of power to this building, and for what period of time, and what our options are, and that is driving how the project schedule will play out and what that means for critical path activities on that schedule. So that's been a focus area for the project team in working through those details. The other area that we're looking at that is very important as well is looking at drainage down in the basement. The other thing that's happening with this renovation is our boiler, a lot of our mechanical systems are moving down into the basement. And as many of us know who've been in this community for a long time, this building was built on a swamp, essentially. We've been having a lot of storm water. So one of the things that the team is looking at is to ensure that we have the appropriate drainage down there. We did have a pump down there before. The plans did call for a pump as well, but we are also evaluating whether or not we're going to put a French drain around the entire perimeter as well. More to come on that. The designer is looking at that, evaluating that with their subcontractors and experts, and we'll be making a decision very shortly around that. Any questions on that before I move on? As the superintendent mentioned, a couple of other key activities that are going on are around color selection, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, IT, and really working through what the needs are in the building. What you see in front of you are renderings. They're examples of color palettes that we have that we're looking to make selections on. Now, these are just examples of color palettes. We actually have to work with the actual submittals that we get through the bidding process that the contractor brings to us. But what you see in front of you is conceptually what the gymnasium could look like at the top. Down at the bottom on the left-hand side is a visualization of the cafeteria. And then the right-hand side on the bottom is the entrance to the gymnasium. So it looks very different than what it looks like today. You can see that the lockers are removed from that section. The stairs to go down in the basement are actually right out in that main hallway now where the storage room used to be that was adjacent to the auditorium. So it's a much wider space. And then as we move over to the right, you actually get a good visual of what the auditorium looks like. And so you get a good visual of the stage as well as looking out from the stage. You can actually see the balcony that we will now have in the auditorium. So we continue to work through color samples. After the meeting, if you want, you can get up and look at some of the samples we looked at today relative to the flooring and what that will look like and the door colors that we've picked out. So continuing to move through that process. And we spend a lot of time and a lot of meetings, but this is one of the most exciting ones that we get to do. And let me just jump to a few financials for you to give you an overview. So when we work with the MSBA, we actually submit all of our expenditures and expenses to them. Now that we've hit the construction phase of this project, those submissions will be happening on a monthly basis. So since this project started, which we kicked off the committee in 2019, we have now, since inception to date, we've submitted a total of 16 submissions into the state. We have received back in reimbursement so far $4.5 million. We are at an 80% reimbursement rate. We will continue to see that amount increase, but you don't really land on your final reimbursement rate until after you're fully audited at the end of the project closeout. So we continue moving along with those submissions on a monthly basis. The other thing that I shared in your packet this evening is the project financials that are shared with the school building committee every month. And what you will see on this is a pretty extensive budget that we follow and expenses. We have our full budget, we have our committed cost, what our forecasts are that drive our cash flow, which is really important for the town, that as we look at when do we need to go back out and borrow based on cash flow projections, and then what our expenditures to date have been. And so far since the inception of this project, we've spent $15.5 million. In that packet is also a cash flow chart. I'll just show it up if you guys may have it up, but we have the cash flow. You'll see that we're running on target with our cash flow and with our budget to actuals, and that trend will continue to go up as construction activities continue. So project is moving along, keeping us very busy, but a lot of good work going on, a lot of good teamwork. Let's move into some other maintenance updates unless there's any questions before I move on.
Through the chair. I don't have a question,
Miller?
I just have a comment. It's quite a shocker to see that the building's down to the brick. I've driven by several times, and my sons have, both my sons graduated from Bartlett, and it's such a shock to see, but can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done. It's going to be awesome.
It's exciting. I know when we walked through it, we were amazed to see. We just were trying to visualize it and being there, and you're walking on dirt, and you see dirt, and it's just, it's overwhelming when you're there, honestly. But it's exciting when you're working on it. And I'd like to thank, the volunteers, because there are people who are volunteering on the color selection working group. And, they're doing it on their free time to help bring this building to life. So I just want to appreciate everybody's work on this. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
I agree.
Thank you, Ms. Millett.
I agree. All right, in other maintenance updates across the district, just wanted to report on a maintenance situation at Webster Middle School. One of our 3 rooftop units on the gymnasium has been shut down. That particular rooftop units, those actually serve as circulating fresh air as well as heat to that section, and we're just waiting on a replacement part right now. Air conditioning in that building has been turned on, and we have 4 classrooms that are running a little warm, and so we're investigating the root cause. It's either valves or a damper actuator. Sorry, trying to get all my terminology down. All right, last but not least, I was not at the last school committee meeting because I was actually attending a conference that's held by the Massachusetts Association of School Business Officials across the state. And so I attended this 4-day event. It was actually attended by over 220 finance and operations professionals across the state. The association offered over 50 sessions across 4 days. I was able to attend 16 of those sessions. The topics that I attended crossed Medicaid, MTRS, cyber risk management, facilities projects, contract administration, Chapter 30B, capital planning, and trends in school finance and operation. The event also had 3 keynote speakers. We had the Secretary of Education, Patrick Tutwiler, who was there, Inspector General Jeffrey Shapiro, as well as Acting Commissioner Russell Johnston. In short, the event was very informative, but probably the highlight for me was the ability to network with other professionals across the state. And in particular, I was able to connect with 3 new school business managers in the area who are new in their positions as well. So being able to establish a network of people that you can reach out to and connect with to either ask questions or to bounce ideas off of or come up with efficiency ideas in terms of how a district's doing things differently was really the highlight for me. And with that said, that concludes my update for this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Contos. Any questions or comments from the committee for Mrs. Contos? Thank you for your updates. And the next item on the agenda is the principal report. And joining us this evening is Ms. Peterson from Webster Middle School. Good evening, Ms. Peterson. I see you brought your entourage tonight.
Yes, the whole crew. Good evening, everyone. So I'm not going to do too much talking because I want to spotlight students tonight. But I will start speaking because one of our students is unable to be here. So I wanted to make sure that I talked a little bit about Project 351. And I've talked about this before, so some of you are probably familiar with it. But Project 351 is a program that invites 8th graders from 351 towns and cities across Massachusetts. So each fall, principals are asked to nominate somebody to send to Project 351. And so they're looking for students who are quiet leaders, not necessarily high academic achievers, but people who exhibit kindness, compassion, humility, and gratitude, and show that in their daily living. So I usually put it out to the staff and ask them for their nominations. And so our staff nominated 6 students, 6 eighth grade students. And so then what I do is I reach out to the students who have been nominated and let them know they've been recommended, and ask them to submit an essay talking about why they should be considered for the project. Out of those 6 students, 2 opted to submit essays, and so then the administration blindly, we don't look at the names, read the essays and decide from there who will be our representatives. So this year, Brianna LaForest was and is still our Project 351 representative. And so what happens is there's a huge kickoff on Martin Luther King Jr. Day in January. All transportation is provided, so parents bring their students to a central location. I believe it might be like a Walmart, and then the bus from the area brings all area kids. So throughout the state, there's different buses. So they have a kickoff, and usually the commissioner speaks, sometimes the mayor, and different people talk about leading and leading with compassion. And so they are connected with Cradles to Crayons. And so their big project is collecting goods to donate for Cradles to Crayons and learning how to be, better citizens and more active. So that's what Brianna's been doing, and she'll continue till the end of the year, and she'll be a Project 351 ambassador for the rest of her life, actually. So I would like to go a little, well, I've already gone out of order, so I apologize. So I'm going to invite Miss Birdie to the mic to introduce her robotics team and talk a little bit about that before I turn it over to the students. Over here, yeah.
Okay. Hi. So I just wanted to say thank you for supporting our classrooms all the time. So we joined Project Lead the Way for the first time this year, and our model is running way differently, we found out, than the rest of the people in the state. So we have 27 days, I think, with the kids on a 45-day curriculum, so they're already running at an advanced rate. So I brought Ava and Angela and Maddie over there. We're all from totally different classes, so they were the top of their classes, and then they were tasked by some professionals to get together and on their own time. Most of the time, I was actually not even there. They had to create a team project using all of their ideas. So it was engineering design process in action. I just have to plug that I love this model because it's completely backwards. It's throwing the kids into stuff and then just having them ask us questions and require the teaching as they need it, as opposed to like the thing we're trying to get rid of, which is sage on the stage, right? So these are my exemplar students over here. They are great at talking. I think they talked for 3 hours in Boston, so they're ready. Yep. You guys ready?
Do they have a mic over there?
Do it. Is it portable?
Yep. You can go anywhere you want with those.
I'm also hoping that they're going to talk about, so as a result of getting feedback from professionals, they blew them away midway through the year, and they were invited on a special robotics trip that they went on a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Hello? Okay. Hi, my name's Angela Sarfo. This is Ava Reed and Madison Deary, and we actually have a 4th person, AJ Perrin, but unfortunately she can't be here today, and this is our Project Hungry Ducky. His name is Quackers, and he is designed after a living, moving duck. He can do most of the things a duck can do except fly, and he's pretty cool. So our idea behind it was a teenager hired us to create a robotic pet for his toddler brother going through a traumatic time, and their house was torn down in a tornado zone. So we basically wanted to make something that would be comforting for a little kid. to help him through a traumatic time and be inspirational too.
So we started out in all different classes with our individual projects, which are all over here. And all of us either made a pet with the same prompt or a pet feeder. And then we all came together and combined our ideas to make something together.
So each of us had individual tasks that our robots need to perform, and we decided to combine all of those tasks into one robot. So my robot had to dispense food by itself with usually an optical sensor or some type of motor. And then Ava's pet had to be comforting. Same thing for AJ and Maddie's pet. So we decided to use the mechanism from my robot to make the dispenser. And then we use comforting aspects from Ava's robot to make our duck look aesthetically pleasing and comforting. Then we use a lot of the opticals from Maddie's project, and we used a lot of the universal joints from AJ's project to add onto ours to make more moving parts with just the wheels. So our robot has a couple different mechanisms. It has a digestive system where you can feed it, and when it starts moving, it'll come out. It has wings that move up and down, and it moves at the sight of a little ID card, and it stops when you press a little button on the front. So, do you want to run it?
So it sounds like, do you mind if I ask you, like, just talk you through a little bit? It sounds like you all made projects and then you found the best of each of your projects and then combined those for your sort of grand project of the Hungry Ducky, right? Quackers?
Definitely did that, and we also had professional engineers tell us what some of the individual aspects of ours that usually stand out to people who are professionals. So we definitely used their feedback to make our one big robot, so it can just be appealing to everyone.
Great. Any of that feedback stand out for you that you want to share with us? It sounds like the way it looked and the way it moved, is that right?
Yeah, usually we get pretty good feedback, but we don't always get really good feedback. So we usually like hearing constructive criticism because it helps us better our robot. Like they told us if we want to make a version 2, that we should definitely try to or covering a lot lighter so that and that
Oh,
we should definitely try to make more so we don't have to use our hands, you know, mess with it when
neat. So sometimes that constructive feedback, it's hard to hear it in the moment, but it made for a better end result. Awesome. Really impressive. Any questions or comments from the committee?
How was it working as a team? Was it Did you struggle at times? Did you seem, yes? Productive struggle, right? Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Great.
Oh, we didn't remind you to hold your mic while you talked. We heard you, but I don't have any other questions. I don't know if the rest of the committee does. Don't forget your mic, okay? Sorry, I know it's uncomfortable, but we want to hear you. True.
What was it, like 2 weeks ago? Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, we went to Boston and we were presented with robotic surgery devices where there's like a console and you operate it, and it's supposed to be like a more efficient, less harmful way to perform surgery with less trauma and like destruction to the body. So it's more efficient and safe for people and the surgeon, and more time efficient too. Going to that facility in Boston, it showed us a lot more opportunities that we would have after high school and even college, because it showed us more careers in the field that we like. We definitely saw a lot of things that we enjoyed working on with our robot quackers in the facility that they did. They did hands-on building for the robot Hugo. His name was Hugo. He was a robotic surgeon. And he also had a lot of software that had to be worked on. We did a lot of coding with our robot as well. It was actually a lot. We had about, 6 different codes that went into one robot. So Ava really loves to code. So I think when she saw it, she really enjoyed it because it helped her connect to engineering fields.
We also got to talk to a lot of professionals when we went to Boston who gave us more feedback on our robot and talked about what it's like building robots with their job and working on them. So we got to see more what it's like.
It was definitely an experience that I would want to do again because we got to try out material that actual surgeons use, and we got to see if we were good at it, bad at it, and if we wanted to do it in the future. And it definitely gave us an opportunity to see what we'd want to do, view other positions other than building a pet. So it was definitely an experience, a good one at that. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much.
Amazing job. You're a shining example of making Webster proud, not only here in our community or at this meeting, but also out there in the world. I can't wait to see what you all do with this. Thank you for
Thank you to Ms.
coming.
Birdie for leading the team and taking charge. Project Lead the Way, as you know, at the middle school was new this year, and it was a huge commitment over the summer. There was a lot of training that was required by the teachers, and without that, we wouldn't be having a program right now. So thank you so much for your efforts.
Thanks, Ms. Birdie. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair, just more of a comment. I know you have had the opportunity as well to go into Miss Birdie's classroom and observe and watch the 7th and 8th graders, create and build from, what was it, Miss Birdie, correct me, I think it was like 8 days they had to build and create. Right, exactly. I have also had the opportunity to go into Miss Bigelow's classrooms and see what they are doing in the manufacturing side, and they are doing things like this, right, at a higher level, but it's coding, it's building, and it's teamwork and collaboration. So I think want everybody to realize how this curriculum parlays into the high school. So just great job. I'm always so thrilled when I go into your classrooms, Ms. Birdie. So thanks.
Thanks, Ms. Blythe. You're right. Always a treat.
So while Ava's here, I also want to point out that she is one of our 2 student representatives on our school council. So her and Elena DeFazio have been going to monthly meetings as part of our school council. So thank you for that. I would also like to present to you tonight Mrs. DeCourcy, our assistant principal, who has gotten our Special Olympics or unified sports teams off the ground. So she has a presentation with some students as well.
Thank you.
You don't mind? And I'm going to take the back because that's what I do. Here you go.
Yeah, that's
Can I borrow this? Just want to make sure you're comfortable. Bonnie and Bonnie? Yeah. Can you guys stand right back?
We're going to have to get a bigger room.
We are.
Awesome, thank you. Maddie C. is in the house. Excellent. Good evening. Bonnie Cernicki, Coach Bonnie Cernicki, Coach Bonnie Giuliano, and I are so proud to be here this evening to share our inclusive Webster Middle School Special Olympic programming with you. We wish to acknowledge Cynthia Maldonado. Where are you, Cynthia? Here you are. There you are. There you go. Sorry about that. And Zion, who are also here to support us. As the coordinator, Mary DeCourcy, if I didn't say my name, my job was to bring everyone together and then to step out of the way and allow the coaches to coach and the players to play. However, in order to do that, there were a lot of people that supported me in making this move forward. So I wanted to just acknowledge everyone. Our principal, Heidi Peterson, who is all about kids and anything that is good for kids. Athletic Director Tony Baranto, Mrs. Kathleen Barris, and Mrs. Sherry Hare, who provided all of our transportation in our 3 away games and really helped us a lot. Our superintendent, Mrs. Monique Perangeli, who came to games, rooted us on, and just made sure that all the players knew that she was here, she was with us, and she was in support. Mr. Nick Fitton, and the Junior National Honor Society, who set up the whole jamboree on March 22nd. Then they had to break it down and set it up again because we thought we had 4 teams playing, and then last minute we went down to 3. So again, they were flexible, supportive. We have an awesome Dean of Students, Melissa Bergeron, who was our dancing mascot. The Team Reyes are super fans. The family of Sebastian Reyes came to every single game, brought the whole family. There were about 10 members of the family, and we just really appreciate their support. And then finally, Miss Kathleen Lutz and Michaela Paris from the Special Olympics, and all of the faculty, staff, students, and families who came out to cheer at our 3 away games in Tantascwa, Auburn, Northbridge, as well as our home jamboree on March 22nd, 2024 at Webster Middle School. So I want to introduce you to our really dynamic staff who are generous. When I reached out, I just asked if anybody would be interested, and we had a lot of interest. Ms. Giuliano was our head coach in bocce and basketball. Ms. Cernicki in both basketball and bocce. Coach Deary and Ms. McGovern and Coach O'Connor in unified unified bocce, sorry. And then in our bocce volunteers included Anthony Saucier, Tristan Basile, and Zion Colon Maldonado, who's here tonight. And then next slide, again, unified basketball ran all the way from, we had our opening meeting in December and our jamboree on March 22nd. Our head coach, Mrs. Giuliano. We had Mrs. Zernicki, who's a parent and a coach and a partner, Mrs. O'Connor, Mrs. Friedman, Mr. DaCosta, and our basketball volunteers were Amira Siddiqui, Jordan Marin Caceres, Gia Baldiga, Tyler Bernier, and Zion Colon Maldonado. So I want to hand the floor over to a parent and a coach on our team, Mrs. Bonnie Cernicki.
Good evening. I'm Bonnie Zernicki, and this is our athlete, Matthew Zernicki. He was one of the unified athletes for both bocce and basketball. What I will share is our experience with the basketball tournament, because unfortunately, Matthew got very ill and he missed the bocce tournament. So Matthews played on a lot of other challenger teams, but this time was very different. Unified was at his school amongst his peers. Unified gave Matthew and all the athletes an opportunity to display talents and athleticism in front of their family, friends, classmates, and their teachers. Unified gave him and all the athletes a platform to display their skills in a public arena. Let's face it, there's no cheering squad at home when he meets one of his IEP goals, even though we all think there should be. It also gave the buddies a chance to meet our athletes and to really get to know them. It also allowed the buddies to ask questions and learn about varying disabilities. As a mom, that is huge. As with all the athletes, Matthew's disability is a small part of who he is and in no way dictates his vast abilities. Instead of looking at the things that make him different, Unified emphasizes the athletes' similarities with their neurotypical peers. It also allows the athletes and buddies to work as a team and allow them to all grow and shine. And shine they did. As a parent, I want what every parent wants, for our children to be included, to have friends, to have a sense of belonging. We want our children to be in a community that is kind, understanding, and accepting. That's what Unified is and why Unified is so important. This is just the beginning to promote inclusion in all aspects of student life. And that is ultimately Mrs. DeCourcy's vision. A vision we can all work together to achieve. My hope as a mom is for all the athletes to be seen as individuals who just so happen to have a disability. I hope people saw how much joy playing a sport, being on a team, and achieving a goal brought to the athletes. As parents and coaches, I don't think I can verbalize the pride we all felt for all the athletes and the buddies. I hope that the knowledge the buddies gained with this experience will extend into the community. Excuse me. I hope they will have more compassion, understanding, and acceptance of those in the disability community. I hope as a school committee that you can see that the athletes are worthy, that they deserve the opportunity to have extracurricular activities and sports just as any other students in the district. The individuals with physical and cognitive disabilities have strength in all different areas. With opportunities and exposure to try different activities, we can bring those talents to the surface. I would like to see these opportunities extend throughout the district to all students to have the same opportunity as their neurotypical peers. I would also like to see us develop a Best Buddies program to extend the inclusion movement even further. I would like to thank Mrs. DeCourcy for her vision and inclusivity at Webster Middle School and for starting this inclusion movement. I want you to know that getting these programs running wasn't easy. I want to thank Mrs. Peterson, the coaches, and all the other staff at Webster Middle School that worked to promote this program and give our children such a wonderful opportunity. I would like to personally thank the buddies that work so hard and selfishly with the athletes. Thank you.
I'd just like to introduce one of our buddies or our partners, Zion Colon Maldonado, and his mom, Cynthia. Just, can I borrow the microphone? Yeah. Thank you. Just to share their experience. Zion, you get to go first.
I want to give thanks to everyone for this opportunity of being part of this program. This helped a lot. I was misbehaving before, and with this program, I even made more friends, and I even made a passion for playing basketball. I wish you guys do this program again.
Joe?
Can you give the microphone to your mom?
What can I say? She said it. She said it all. But me as a mom with a kid with disability, I'm very grateful for to this to be. Sorry, I'm a crybaby. The thing is that Zion had been bullied when he was little, so I'm glad that he feel part of something now, and they kid with disability need to be respected
and be part of our my English is not good. Sorry, social. Oh my God. Yeah. Um. So I'm very glad to Miss DeCourcy that she and all the people that make this possible. I'm very grateful for everything you guys doing for this kid with disability. Thank you so much.
Coach Juliana?
Sure. Hi, I'm Bonnie Giuliano. I'm a special education teacher at Webster Middle School. I've been here working with this population for several years in the district, and I just want to thank you all for the opportunity to come out and share my experience with this program, with the Unified Arts Program. First, I want to thank Mary DeCourcy and Bonnie Zernicki for initiating the program. It's something that I've always wanted to see happen in our schools, but really didn't know how to start it. And so as soon as Mary put out that email, I think it was over a vacation break even, or a weekend, I jumped right on it and was like, yes. And so as a special educator in the district, I have seen the students that I work with many times feel left out of opportunities and activities due to their differences, and not feel like they were a part of the community and not feel like they could join into to different things. And it's something I've always tried to promote with them, but they've always just felt like, it's not for me. And so this program has allowed those students to come in and work as a team, and gain some self-confidence, some friends, social skills, and that feel that sense of belonging to the community. We had students participating from grades 5 through 8. We had them from every program that we have, including the RISE program, the STAR program, life skills, resource rooms, and students who are fully included in the classroom. So a very wide range of students who all work together. And then we had our student volunteers who were like nothing short of, miraculous. They were wonderful. They were wonderful kids. So supportive, so kind, and so generous of their time. They did this, they volunteered to do this. They all have a busy, workload of homework and things like that, and they chose to stay after school a couple days a week to help these kids. And they jumped right in, like no fear, no, they weren't afraid because these kids were a little bit different than they were. So it was wonderful. And then we had a lot of support from other students in our school. We had students in 2 of the 6th grade classrooms make posters for all of our students for the Jamboree. Same thing, staying after school, doing this with their teachers. We had Lynn Gingras at all of our games taking photographs so that they could be a part of the yearbook, right? They're going to be in the yearbook and be remembered as a team. So for me as an educator, to see my students be able to participate in this was just, I don't even know. I can't even describe it. It was wonderful. It was the pride that I felt. I mean, I would be at games in tears and laughing, and it just filled my heart. I look forward to many more years of working with my colleagues to support this program, as well as adding more programs for these students, maybe not just sports, but things that they can do after school if they're not interested in sports, right? So we asked some of the students to share some of their thoughts about the experience. So all of them couldn't be here. I'm glad Zion could make it. So here are some of them, and these are in a smaller print, so I need my glasses. So Unified Basketball was a great experience to help others. During this program, I got to teach the athletes how to dribble, shoot, pass, and much more. Seeing them progress and try their hardest in the game was so nice to see. I had lots of fun with everyone on the team, and that was from Jordan MC. She's a 7th grade student. Unified Basketball was a very fun experience. I always looked forward to practices, games, and watching the athletes learn more about the sport and teamwork. That was from Amira S., grade 7. If I had to describe the Unified Basketball experience, I would describe the experience as really cool and something I looked forward to. I found it fun and exciting to help out the kids and always had a good time. Gia B, grade 8. It was a really good experience for me to help others while learning bocce and basketball. I learned that I really liked helping others, and that was something that Zion had mentioned too. I thought bocce was going to be bowling, and it was not like bowling. I could have left, but I didn't because I liked it. And then I got to be friends with Zion. Unified basketball got my energy out, and I got to be more bonded with my friend Zion. And that was from Ronnie B., a 6th grade student. So, oh, and this was another student, sorry. We had games and we were in teams and we had a home game and we traveled to different places. Jordan and Amira helped us practice for the Special Olympics, and that was from Richard D., a 7th grade student. And I think the comment that touched me the most was from one of the parents of a player. She wrote, "There are really no words to describe the feeling of cheering on your child. Unified sports allowed not only the child to participate, but also the family. We were his best cheerleaders, and he was happier for it. My son's confidence grew considerably in those short few weeks he played in unified basketball. We will forever be grateful to Mary for reaching out to us and getting our son involved. We would love for unified sports to continue and look forward to the day we get to cheer for Sebastian again." And thank you for having, and that was from Maria Torres Reyes. And then, so again, I want to thank you for having us all and for all of your support.
And I do want to point out that the slides were prepared by Amira Siddiqui and Jordan Marin Caceres today. I had the whole outline, but I needed their magical skills to make it happen and to import the pictures. So thank you all for having us this evening.
Thank you all for coming out. And, Mr. Corsi, Ms. Peterson, and all of Ms. Giuliano, Mr. Nicky, for providing this opportunity. The gift of inclusion isn't just a gift for those being included. It's a gift for those that are having the chance to be an includer. So thank you.
I am not going to apologize for taking up so much time tonight because this is what all of us are here for. We're not here for MCAS tests and, picking at where our data is. This is what we are here for. And it brings me great pride to share what I see every day and to showcase the great things. And, these are the things that the state should be coming in to look at on a daily basis. So thank you for allowing us to share with you.
Thank you. Certainly, as the mom of one of the buddies, I can, attest to the impact that it had, not only on Amira and Jordan, of course, and the rest of the buddies as well, but as a mom to be able to cheer everybody on and see, just the gift that was given, like I said, to all of the participants. Each participant took something from that experience. It wasn't a one-sided, benefit for sure. So certainly really appreciated that. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
I would just like to say thank you to the middle school, and this is just, we always talk about the wonderful things that are going on in our district, the wonderful staff that we have, the wonderful, wonderful students that we have. Going to these events, you walk in and there is nothing but smiles and happiness and cheering for one another and supporting one another. They're all Webster Middle School students. They're all equal students. So thank you for that. Thank you for everything. This is what we're about. This is the business we're in. Yep.
Look forward to next season. Ms. Peterson, do you have any further updates in your report? Does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report this evening.
All right. Thank you, all of you, for taking time out of your evening to be here, and for all of you that took time out of your busy lives to make this a reality, whether it be the unified sports, the robotics. You all, once again, you are a shining example of Webster pride. So thank you. I am going to continue in the vein of taking things out of order. Thank you, Ms. Peterson, for your fine example of that. The next item that we're going to be discussing this evening is under old business, item D. It's our Seal of Biliteracy program. Good evening, Dr. Mackay.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by welcoming some families that are here with their students who are the recipients of our Seal of Biliteracy for Webster. Puedo decir bienvenidos a los padres que vinieron y a los estudiantes que vinieron también. Gracias. It is with great pride that we have the ability to celebrate 9 students in our first year of offering the Seal of Biliteracy. I don't know if everyone understands how complex the test was. The students had to demonstrate proficiency in speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and in the languages that they wanted to test in. We had one student who is a recipient in the language of Twi, which is spoken in Ghana. And it's actually Tree. I kept saying Twi because it's spelled T-W-I, but it's Tree. And the rest of the students are in Spanish. One thing I would like to say, and I've started asking and preparing a presentation for the senior awards, one thing I'd like to point out is that many of the students came after they were 10 years old. Some students were born here. So it's really miraculous to maintain your home language after so much time away from the country. And I know as a person who came to this country at the age of 6 many years ago, and I don't think I've ever spoken better Portuguese than I do now. And that is because of the family connections that I have and the opportunities to practice my languages. And these students and I thank the parents for maintaining their language at home. Otherwise, they would forget. Children come to this country and they get acclimated much quicker than we do as adults. And the language is easier for some, harder for some, but it comes quickly. And there's sometimes a tendency to just speak in English and not want to speak the language at home. And so it's really great that these families kept up their home language. The result is tremendous. The result is a special award with a seal, a gold seal on their diplomas that follows on their transcripts. And for some students, it will open up job opportunities. There's a lot of research right now of companies, especially in the career and technical world, that are showcasing students that speak, or employees that speak 2 languages or more. In addition, for example, UMass Amherst offers 12 credits if you have earned the seal. Other colleges, all of the community colleges, and then Bridgewater State College, Worcester State University, Salem State College, all of these colleges offer some credit or course replacement with this seal of biliteracy. So they had to write 4 paragraphs in Spanish. And some of them don't study Spanish here. They just know it from their home language. And some students take Spanish here as well. So at this time, what I'd like to do is just read off the names of the students that are our recipients. We have, I believe we have 4 who are here, 5 who are here. And if you are here, I think that there's a couple of students that might be uncomfortable standing at the front. So if they could just wave to us and we can acknowledge you. We have Quadro Ajiman. We have Crisbel Barrios. Diana Cortez. Lady Cruz Guzman. And I have to just give Lady a special shout out because she didn't take the test that these guys recently took. she passed it on the AP test. So she already came into it and didn't have to take the extra language test. So kudos. Christian Hernandez Garcia. Janessa Marcario could not be with us. Angel Marin Caceres could not be with us. Jeremy Morello Pena and Yexiel Rivera. Again, I thank you all for the work that went into taking the test, retaking the test, and just putting your head in that game of, I want to show, and I have pride that I am biliterate, that I am bicultural, that I am bilingual. Entonces, con mucho orgullo para los padres, porque pudieron mantener la idioma en casa. Y sin eso, ellos no tenían ese logro. Entonces, congratulations. Thank you.
I'm just so proud. I'm really so excited about tonight, about all the work that's going on. And thank you, Dr. Mackay, for bringing this to my attention. It was one of the first things she's asked at the beginning of the school year, and we didn't hesitate. We said, run with it. And look, the best of Webster representation here. Congratulations. You should be celebrated and celebrating your culture and your language. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Congratulations, all of you. No small accomplishment to test out in 2 languages like that. So very proud of all of you. And this will take you far. As someone who works in human resources and looks for people purposely who speak more than 1 language and will pay a premium to the people who can demonstrate a proficiency in more than 1 language, often those people need to take a test in order to qualify for that additional pay in the professional world. And you all have a leg up on that already, just coming out of high school. So congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Mackay.
Through the chair, if I could just add one
Ms.
other thing.
Contos?
And I want to remind everyone, we have a company here in town who often seeks out bilingual skills. And that company, Mafre, offers opportunities all over the globe for people who are willing to travel and relocate. So it's a place and a gem right here in Webster. Lots of expats come over from Spain, work at the company. So I just want to highlight that your skills are often sought after, and you have a company right here in town that's often looking for those skills. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, Ms. Contos. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Well, hearing none, once again, I want to thank each of you for taking time out of your evening to be with us this evening. That goes for all of you students and the parents as well. So thank you. Congratulations. The next item on the agenda, once again, a bit out of order, is under new business. It's the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative update. Joining us this evening is Arnold Lundwall, the Executive Director of the Collaborative. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, Mr. Lundwall. Yes, please have a seat. Thank you.
That's a tough act to follow.
There's absolutely no way that I can follow that act, and it was no act. Fantastic stuff all around, from the unified sports to Project 351 to the seal of bilingualism. What a great expose for someone who has worked in this area as an educator, as an administrator for a number of years. And so I'm really thrilled to come meet with you and talk with you here today. I could go through the PowerPoint. Hopefully you've received it already, had a chance to take a look at it. It's a great memory aid, but I'd like to have a discussion with you today about it more so than running through a presentation per se. So I'm the Executive Director of Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative, also known as SWEC. We provide services to 15 member school districts in the Southern Worcester County area, Webster being one of them. This is my 5th year at the Collaborative, my 4th year in the role as Executive Director. And so I'm coming to you today not to ask for money. Let's just start right there, okay? Because you see, setting up a capital fund, what does this mean? I am not looking for money today, nor am I looking for money from any of our member districts in the future. But I'm here today to hopefully secure a motion and a vote to approve the development of a capital surplus fund for our collaborative with a limit of $2 million. And why do I want to do that? Well, I looked into this year, did some research, especially through some schooling that I did, and found that in the 49 years that this collaborative has been around, no one has set this up. What we're normally allowed to set aside is up to 25% of our yearly expenditures. And that's truly a rainy day fund. Let's say we don't bring students in to the collaborative and our enrollments are down, our tuitions are down, and we still need to make payroll. That sort of reserve is there for that reason. Capital surplus fund would allow us to be good partners with our landlords. So we, as a collaborative, serve, as I mentioned, our member districts. Our main source of income, and we operate a bit differently than a public school entity in that we don't receive an annual allowance from our municipality. We operate more like a business. We bring students in and districts pay tuition. We provide services such as speech and language, physical therapy, teacher of the visually impaired, teacher of the deaf services, very special types of services to member districts. We also provide professional development, program evaluations, and consultation to those districts. In the past 15 or 20 years, we've been leasing 2 buildings. One is in Southbridge, that's our elementary school, grades K to 6. And then 2 miles down the road on Route 131 in Dudley, we have our middle and high school as well as our intensive special needs program. So the majority of our students come to us from our member districts and about 8 to 10 non-member districts for one reason or another because they can't be in their public schools. Now, I had the opportunity to join the collaborative 5 years ago. I happen to know what the product was all about because the 7 years prior, I was the special administrator for Grafton Public Schools, one of the 15 member districts. In those 7 years, Southern Worcester County sent back to us 4 students because they're doing that well. Now, we sent students not only to Southern Worcester County, but to other collaboratives, other private special ed schools. It was the one entity that sent students back saying, these students are ready to go back, want to go back. We have the endorsement of the district, we have the endorsement of the parents. I saw that, and of those 4 students, 3 were very successful. One of them graduated honors. So the collaborative is committed to taking students, but also getting them back to their community. And so I was thrilled to have the opportunity to join this school. We currently do not have any sort of collateral because, as I mentioned, we lease both of our buildings and have been leasing them for about 15 to 20 years. Our relationship with our landlords are fantastic. But at some point, something could happen. They might want to retire, sell the property. We might need to expand. I have a longer term goal, 10 years down the road, let's say. I would love to see our collaborative students be all under one roof, K to 22. Why? Because we're small enough and we can do that. And when I see that we do that during the summer, because we do combine all the students who qualify for extended school year, we combine them onto one campus, I get to see the vertical alignment and the instruction, and our students soar. In a challenging time, trying to keep students engaged 5 days a week for 5 or 6 weeks during our summer is tough. And unlike a school district, I can't go to the MSBA, not allowed to. I can't get bonded, I can't get a loan. And without any collateral, if I walked into a bank and said I'd like to have $2 million to buy a property or to lease a new property, I'd pretty much be walked out because I don't have any way to say that we're solvent. So I'm here to start this savings fund. I'm here to have it as a parachute fund, but also to be good neighbors and participants with our landlords. Over the past year, last summer at the elementary school, one of our landlords partnered with us and with the Auburn Elks, and we put together a playground for our students at the elementary school, which they didn't have. We don't have any gymnasiums. So for our students who are highly active and need to get that energy out when the weather is inclement and it's time for PE or recess, we get creative, let's just say that. So the other piece of it is, if our landlords said, hey, we're packing up, we're gonna sell, We do have it written into our leases, right of first refusal, which is great. But again, the only collateral that I have is an old Econoline 350 van, 12 years old. We call her Big Bertha. I don't know how much longer she's going to last. So I'm looking at this as a parachute, but also an opportunity if our landlords decide, hey, let's build a gymnasium, which were in the plans about 5 or 10 years ago, but no one could afford it at the time. We can help them with that, with capital surplus funds. That way, we don't have to come back to the board of directors being the 15 superintendents to whom I report, and say, we're going to have to raise our tuition to cover the cost of building gymnasiums, or beautifying our green space, or allowing for our students who are bound to wheelchairs to get out into the green spaces safely. So I've got a number of different projects, but also that parachute in mind. So I'm here to ask you to hopefully support me in setting up this capital surplus fund. It would be funded only those years when we are actually running a surplus. There are some years that we do run a deficit, but there are many years when we do run a surplus. And much like our retirees' insurance, medical insurance account, our OPEB account, we would contribute to the capital fund in a similar fashion. I wouldn't need to come to you to talk about that, but what I would do is turn to my board of directors every year towards the end of the fiscal year and say, with my director of finance, we have excess funds. Could we please start putting some money into the piggy bank? With that, this is one of those years, because our enrollment right now is just under 130 students, whereas we budgeted for 118 students for the year. And we've been pretty much above that census since late October. Our referral rates are through the roof. I can only see us expanding if this continues. Our referral rates are easily 2.5 times the rate that they were prior to COVID, and they have not eased up at all. So I'm looking to set this up for all the reasons that I mentioned before. Down the road, should we elect to spend those monies? It's not something that I decide. It's something that I would advise the board. They would vote on it. They would have discussion about it and either approve it or not. So again, those are pretty much, I think, all the reasons why I want to set this up. I think it's fiscally smart, especially since we don't have a savings account of this nature. And my requirement by the state and the regulations is that I need 2/3 of those 15 member districts in order to move this forward. And I've been doing this since April, so if I sound like I've got this canned, I've got it pretty good right now. But if you have questions, I would love to answer any that you might have.
I'll just add that all the superintendents on the board support this, support Mr. Lunwell. He's done a wonderful job with the program, and we are 100% on board.
Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli.
Through the chair.
Ms. Gregory.
I just wanted to say, I used to work for Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative. I was at the elementary school.
You looked familiar.
Looked a little familiar.
Okay.
I didn't have the pleasure of working for you.
Right.
Our paths just merely crossed.
That's right.
But sitting in this room, I caught eyes with a former student of mine at the elementary school, who is now, I believe, a senior at Bartlett. So working for the collaborative, I started part-time in 2011. I left in 2019. It was a great school to work for, and I know a lot of successful stories of students who have reintegrated back into their district and have been successful. So just my personal experience with SWEC and the colleagues and the students there was phenomenal.
And perhaps you can attest to our unique living space, as I'll call it.
Well, I had to chuckle at the gymnasium because at the elementary level, it's a small cafeteria. And if it rained outside, it was Mrs. Peets at the time, and then Mr. Cornett, who you just recently lost,
Yep.
works with me now.
Good for him.
We would have to move the tables out of the cafeteria in order for the kids to have space in the gym, to have gym. And at the high school, if you go in, it's almost, it's reminiscent of a house that has been converted into classrooms. And we call the elementary school the bowling alley because it's 2 bowling alley lanes pretty much with classrooms off to either of the sides. And I know this has been a dream of, or, an aspiration of the collaborative for a long time to have their own school space. And with the students there, they are at risk. And when I was there, the elementary green space wasn't even fenced in. And it was difficult at times for those students who had, emotional and behavioral disabilities to stay safe out there. So for the safety of the students, a better environment is definitely necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grigula. Any other questions or comments from the committee? No? Well, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve SWEC to create a capital surplus fund in the amount of $2 million.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
I'm gonna abstain. Should I abstain?
You can if you wish.
I'm gonna abstain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to, either through Superintendent Pirangelli or directly through me. All my contact information is there. I'd be happy to entertain those.
Thanks, Mr. Lundwell. Appreciate you coming out, and thanks for your ongoing partnership.
Thank you. Madam Chair, may I ask you to fill out that form and I can run away with it?
Happy to.
All right, thank you.
The next item on the agenda, excuse me? Just me. The next item on the agenda is our update from our student representative, Mohammed. Mohammed, it's your last night. We figured we'd really get our money's worth and keep you for a couple of hours. So thank you for your patience.
But I loved it. Honestly, it was amazing. So,
Well, thank you for your
I love seeing
patience.
all the students show all their talents. That's crazy. I don't even know how they made that robot.
It's really impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
So I just want to start with my topics. So I have some senior events that are going on, and I just wanted to let you guys know about them. So there's senior barbecue on the May 31st, but there's also a underclassmen barbecue as well on that same day. It's just on the later time. And then there's senior lock-in and sunrise on the 31st, and then senior class trip on June 3rd. And then the grads on parade is on June 6th, and then the graduation is on June 7th. So very, very close. Everything is within 2 weeks. Yay. And then I want to talk about testing. So there was MCAS testing that happened for math on May 21st and 22nd. It seemed to go really good, and the students that didn't have to do the testing were in homeroom for 3 hours, which we used for that time to do makeup work and stuff, which was really helpful for students. And then I want to talk about prom. Prom was really fun. It was amazing. All the people looked really good, and it was a fun night dancing and eating the food. And then for some sports updates, the girls softball team won a game against North High School, and the score was 19-0. And the girls tennis team won a game against Oxford. The score was 4-1. And those are all my updates.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Getting to be an exciting time of year, isn't it?
I know, right? But it's the fun stuff, so I like
It's going to go by very quickly, so
it, right?
enjoy it.
Honestly.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee for Mohammed?
I would like to say it's been a pleasure having you as a member of our committee. You gave us a really nice connection to what is going on, and I really appreciate that, and good wishes for what comes next for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been really I love coming here. It's really fun because I like to hear all the news that is happening in Bartlett, and then also showing off what the students can do. And I just want to thank the committee and then Ms. Brangeli. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, honestly, just to be here.
You've done a great job.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything?
I would just like to say thank you to Mohammed. We have a little something for you. It has been a pleasure sitting next to you all year, getting to know you better, seeing you in the halls, talking school stuff with you, and learning about what's going on. I have no doubt that you're going to be successful in your next chapter, and I look forward to hearing and seeing the wonderful things that you're going to do. So thank you so much for being an active participant of our school committee, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. This is officially your last meeting.
It's an open meeting, you can still come.
You can come support.
We still want you to come and visit.
Oh, I definitely will. I'm so excited to see the school, like, honestly.
For sure, yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Mrs. Blythe?
I just wanted to say thank you for all of your updates this year. You always bring a smile, always bring positivity. So good luck. It's been a pleasure.
And how many Bartlett alums do we have in the room? We have, raise your hand, look, around the room.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So you need to come back. You need to come back and give back to your community. That's what this is about, coming back and giving back to your community. So keep that in mind.
Definitely.
And speaking of community, Mohammed, I got to know you here through school committee, but I've seen you all over the community. And the way that you conduct yourself here at these meetings with a positivity and a smile and kindness and compassion in your heart is how I see you everywhere I run into you. So I just want to compliment you and your family for just such a wonderful human being that you are. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's been really nice getting to know you.
Really nice getting to know you too, honestly.
Thank you. All right. Well, I guess this is not a goodbye. This is just a see you later, because we are going to be seeing you around.
Updates, 100%.
Yeah. Yes. Does that conclude your report, though?
Yes, that concludes my report. My last report.
All right. Well, it was a good one. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The next item on the agenda under old business is the third and final reading of 3 policies. I'm going to take them one by one, and then maybe we can take a motion altogether. But the first is policy AD, our mission statement. I'm going to pause in between in case there's any discussion about any of these. The next is policy ADC, tobacco products on school premises being prohibited. The next is policy AE, commitment to accomplishment. Hearing no discussion about those 3 policies and being the third and final reading, I will entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is the superintendent evaluation. So just a quick thing that I'd like to say about this. This is one of the core roles of the school committee, is to hire and evaluate the superintendent and to set policy and budget. So this evening, we will be hearing a presentation, I think a brief, somewhat, right, presentation about Superintendent Perangeli's goals and progress over this year, and we will then make a plan for completing an evaluation.
Thank you. So in your packet, you should have a few documents. You first have the goals that I submitted at the beginning of the year, and what I did is I just continued on that form down below. You have the model from Mass DESE for System for Educator Evaluation, and then I also added in the superintendent and district administrator rubric. So if you follow along, just for your reference, when you go to look at that, where it says Standard 1F, you could just look up in here, Standard 1F in this document. It tells you what it is, and then you can go align that to what I've presented in the goals as you're filling out the evaluation form, just to help guide you through that process. So the first one was instructional leadership under Standard 1F. My goal was the district leadership team, using multiple sources of data gathered in FY23, as well as at other data points, identified opportunities for improvement in providing supports to all teachers in the district instructional priority, and to develop an action plan to address these areas. So some of the activities that we were doing to support these is we meet we have our weekly central office meetings. We have a few different formats of meetings this year. I've been talking a lot about these throughout the school year. We have our regular DLT, which is consistent of our principals and our central office leadership team. And then we have our DILT team, which is a central office team, a district leadership team, and we have also an additional assistant principal on that team who has a very strong curriculum background in early education. And we have our assistant director of equity and inclusion. That DILT team is 100% only focused on instruction. So those meetings are meant for instructional purposes only. We look at data, we review data, we do walks throughout the district, walkthroughs in all the buildings. We come back, we collaborate, we send feedback out to the district, to the schools, to the teachers in the school, giving feedback. And all of that information is funneled after our walks, funnel down through our instructional leadership teams to work on professional gains and what we need to address within the schools. We actually, a big part of that was looking at data. And so at the beginning of the year, I introduced Open Architect, which is a system that brings all of our information into one data point or one access area. So within that, we have all of our discipline data being fed in there. We have attendance data, we have access data, we have our iReady data, we have Dibbles data, we have, I think I said MCAS, we also have everything you could possibly want to look at and cross-reference data in one dashboard. So we can pull things together and really dig down deep quickly. That was one of the struggles we had as a district before. It's really hard to take all these little pieces of data and then combine them all into one data set where you can just sit and make effective use of the data that you're looking at. So we can really refine that data by looking down into student subgroups, looking at scores, looking at chronic absenteeism, and really refine where our trouble spots are, what we need to work on, and how we need to grow. So we've spent a lot of this year looking at that data, so I'm really happy about that. Another thing we did this year was participate in our chronic absenteeism initiative, so we've looked at that. And then I'm also really proud of the work that we've done with, I've started student focus groups this year. So that was great to get the viewpoint of a student versus what the adults think. We always think we know what's best for our kids, but when you have a student focus group and you're listening to what the students want in their education, they have a lot to say. You know, I didn't think at first, I wasn't sure what the collaboration and the effort and the response would be. And I was pleasantly surprised, and that is something that I'm definitely going to continue into the future, having multiple student focus groups a year. I think we have a lot to learn from our student population. So that is standard 1F. Next, I will continue on to management and operations, standard 2A2. That was oversee the Bartlett High School renovation project, ensuring a fiscally responsible project that supports the district's educational vision through the design and construction phases while preparing for instructional use of a newly renovated school. I was going to attend building committees, communicate progress with staff, parents, and community at large through the website and social media. Our website is updated currently with the project. You can look, you can see pictures that are happening there. We communicated out successfully through the start of school, changing the pattern, making sure everybody knew what was going on this year. We certainly are not missing many meetings. We have a lot of meetings that we're going through, which can be consuming, but it's important work, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see what the end product is going to be. So we've got another 2 years of this, so it's going to be high on our radar moving through the next 2 years. But safety and making sure that we have a project our community can be proud of is most important. Then I'm going to move on to management and operations. development and implement a budget in collaboration with the business manager, district leadership team, which focuses on the district priorities. I was going to support our business manager in the development of a budget, meet with town officials, present with selectmen and finance, monitor state messaging around the budget. As you know, we have done that this year. We submitted a balanced budget to the town with our town partners on May 13th, was it? Early in May. Dates are running a blur right now. But I'm happy to say that even though it wasn't the budget that we've had in the past, it is still it's an increase of 3.2%, which a lot of communities are not seeing around the state. We have a very collaborative working relationship with the town, and this budget, I'm confident, supports the needs of our district to move forward. So I feel proud of that. And then also, we have our family and community engagement. It was development and implement systems and strategies to engage families and partners within our school system and the community at large. We were a newly created family and community engagement. We have a family engagement coordinator. We want to celebrate our positive student news, which I think we've been doing, and meeting families where they're at. And a big part of that is our re-engagement and our family liaisons. I have appointed a family engagement coordinator. That is Miss Mackay, Dr. Mackay. We have 2 very successful family engagement staff and a re-engagement staff that have been working to help reduce our dropout at the high school. As you can see through a lot of the engagement that we're doing in the community, that we're reaching out with our families, we're seeing increased engagement. We do have a family engagement committee that we meet here. We're looking to expand that. That is an area where I put the brakes on and we slowed down because we really needed to dig in and define what our family engagement is. It's more than just posting something in a newsletter or tweeting something out. It's really understanding our families and engaging with them in our community, learning more about them, and really making them feel like they're partners in our community and outside our community, right? They're only here for how many hours a day? There's a whole nother world outside in our school community. So really bridging that gap and bringing people in and making them feel safe and welcome in partnerships. And we're doing a lot of that work across the district. But we really needed to understand what we need to do for that outreach and what systems we need to have in place internally before we can put it out there. We often quickly do things too fast where we kind of backpedal. We put the cart before the horse. So we're really working on putting systems in place that will last us long term and have the most impact. So some of the things that we've done around that are elementary, our family engagement. They've been celebrating different cultures. They've had breakfasts for families coming in. We've celebrated many of our Spanish-speaking students. We had a breakfast for all of those students just so they could meet one another. We had a breakfast for our Portuguese-speaking students, and then we invited all of our other students, and then we heard from the families that they wanted to come in. I can give you an example. Today we had an LPAC meeting. We had 45 people there. That was the biggest meeting we've ever had. And it was from parents. It was their idea. They wanted to come in. They wanted to meet. And it was an opportunity to get information out and to get participation. And we're doing those kinds of things throughout the district. There's been a lot of nice events and having parents just come in, sitting down at the table to talk about maybe what it is if your student's been absent a lot or what it means to be involved within the school system. So the work is ongoing. We're in the infancy stage of it, but we are making progress, and I look forward to many more things to come. We're looking at, events such as cultural events and different things across the district that we're going to do to embrace our families and partner with our families. So I hope you've seen more in the newspapers and around town. I hope you feel a sense of community partnership. I know I see it more and more, and I think it's only going to increase. We just have to continue to do it right and be our advocates and meet people where we need to. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you want more explanations on. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, look at me. Okay, so the last one was professional culture, and this was develop an ongoing professional development plan to ensure a continuous meaningful professional development in the areas to support our instructional strategies. And that was support the curriculum director in the development of meaning professional learning opportunities. We have done that. We had a continuous plan throughout the beginning of the year. That was something I pushed for. I wanted it to be cohesive and meaningful. If we're going to support our staff, we need to support them appropriately, and that means giving them professional development that is meaningful to them. It's hard when you're, putting something together really quick and it's not meaningful. You want everybody in the district to have the opportunity to have professional growth. And it needs to align to the work that we're doing. So I know our previous curriculum director worked really hard with me at the beginning of the year in developing that plan. That'll guide us through the year. We're already starting to do that for next year. We are refining, like I said, our instructional priority. We're looking at needs across the district. Once we define that, we'll then start working on our professional goals for next year and aligning that work to support our instructional priorities and our strategic plan. So you have been shared with the professional grids all year long. I'm happy to reshare them again if you need anything. And then thank you for pointing that out. That's my last one.
Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli.
Thank you.
It sounds like it's been a busy year.
It has been, but it's been great.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee with regard to Mrs. Perangeli's goals? No. Thank you for that thorough overview of what you've been working on, what you set out at the beginning of the year, and some highlights of your accomplishments over the year. So at this point in the fiscal year, it becomes the role of the school committee to complete the evaluation for the superintendent. And we endeavor to do that ideally before the end of the fiscal year. We have one meeting coming up in June. Is that correct? June 11th?
Correct. Yep.
So I'd like to open this up actually to the committee. If we plan to have this evaluation completed in order to present it at the June 11th meeting, we'll be on a bit of a time crunch. We'll have about a week, maybe by next Wednesday. I just need to look at the date there to complete the rubric. It would be, thank you, yeah, June 5th. Other than that, our next meeting after that is in July. Any changes that we make with regard to compensation and things like that would be retroactive to July 1st. So what are the thoughts from the committee? Do we think that a week is a reasonable timeline, or is that too crunched?
Through the chair,
Ms. Millett?
I would like to wait till the July meeting, only because there's so much going on right now with graduation and different things going on, that it's to do it well.
Okay,
To have it a thoughtful process.
I understand.
I think we need the time.
Okay. Is there any further discussion about that? Hearing none. Do we need a motion or just a plan? Okay. So hearing no further discussion, we will plan on trying to get this, the rubric completed. I don't want to put this out too far. Do we think maybe by June 14th or June 21st would be reasonable for us to have the rubric completed, and then we can send that into Lori? Right, okay, fair enough, but then we need to get that back to you. 14th, 21st. What's the date of the meeting in July? Do you have that handy?
I think it's July 9th, I think.
Okay, so it's the beginning of July. let's plan on maybe having that completed by, is June 14th acceptable?
I can make that happen.
Mr. Armopoulos, yeah, okay. Ms. Millett, think that's okay?
What's the date?
June 14th to send it to Lori?
That would be okay.
Thank you.
It gives us a little extra.
Right. It's important, so I understand.
That'll work.
So with the goals typically typed in the form, it takes time to get all of that typed into the form.
What kind of time do you think you need, Ms. Marazzo, to type it into the form? Mm-hmm. Okay. We're not going to say no to more time to get this evaluation completed. I just don't want to push this out too far. It gives a false sense of having lots of time on our hands.
So I'm saying that I could get it.
On the 7th. So how about the 21st? That gives us a 2-week turnaround. That work?
Yes.
All right, that's a good goal. And we can certainly adjust if necessary. But 6:21. Okay, sounds good. All right. Anything else with regard to the superintendent evaluation or the goals that were presented? No? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of donations to Webster Middle School cleaning supplies from Shield Packaging.
Where am I? So we have a donation of, is that in the packet?
I'm looking too. I can't remember if I saw that.
Through the chair.
Ms. Petersing?
Yes, so the company is actually a parent, and so they donated cleaning supplies, various cleaning supplies, paper towels, wipes, disinfectant sprays, and I unfortunately don't know the total value of that. I apologize.
Thank you for adding the context there. Are there any questions or comments from the committee about this donation? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Laura, would you please pull the committee?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And thank you to Shield Packaging and the parent who made that donation. On behalf of the committee, we'd like to thank you for your generosity. The next item on the agenda is the approval of year-end transfers. Ms. Contos?
Yes. So as we approach the end of this fiscal year and with standard past practice, we're seeking approval from the committee to allow us to transfer between multiple funds to really expedite the end of year transfer process as well as closing out the fiscal year. And of course, at your request, if you'd like, we can also share with you a list of those transfers, what was done, and all of the explanations behind it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee about this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the year-end transfers.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Lori, would you please pull the committee?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is executive session. So I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to conduct strategy and preparation for negotiations with union personnel. We will reconvene an open session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please pull the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. Okay, well, we are back from our executive session. And our next item on our agenda, under new business, which I'm taking slightly out of order, is the approval of a memorandum of agreement between the Webster School Committee and the Webster Educators Association. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Thank you. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this MOA pending ratification by the WEA.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of a job description for the instructional leadership team role. Is there any discussion around that job description? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the approval of a job description for the department chair or grade level leader. Is there any discussion around that job description? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is a review, transfer, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. There is a transfer request in the amount of $8,334.94 from the Webster Middle School Student Activity Savings Account to the checking account. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes.
Thank you for your flexibility tonight.
You're welcome. Yeah, that was a wild ride.
So, when we discussed the MOA for the union, I just want to say it was to approve a memorandum for the union in regards to an ILT and department head stipend, so an adjustment in that MOA, and the union will be looking for that because there was nothing for our notes. So we're okay with that, right?
Just approved it, you can speak to it.
Correct. Perfect.
So it's all about an ILT and a department head.
Okay.
Okay?
Great. Thank you for
Thank
clarifying
you.
that, Mrs. Brangeli.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Laura, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.